The 2nd of May, Rabbi Levitt, Daniel.
Okay, so
So where are we? I think we're in chapter Yud Aleph.
that's right.
I think Pasuk
That's
Aleph.
right. Yeah, okay, let's go from there.
Okay. Uche amdo ti shaver malchuso v'sei chatz le'arba ruchos hashamayim v'lo li'achariso v'lo mashlo asher mashal ki seish malchuso v'la'acherim milvad eleh. So let's see, the translation is, but after he had arisen, his kingdom, after he has arisen, his kingdom will be broken and will be divided into the four directions of heaven, but not to his posterity, nor will it be like his dominion with which he ruled, for his kingdom will be uprooted, and for others besides these. So what are we talking about here? We're in the middle of a
Talking about Alexandros Mokdon.
Alexander the Great.
We started in the in Pasuk Gimel.
Right. A mighty king will arise.
And yeah, doesn't mention him by name, but Rashi identifies him as such.
Right. He's an amazing man.
Yeah.
He used to go into battle with a feathered plume on his helmet, a cape, and a big white horse. And he went in the front. He led the attack.
Mm-hmm.
And his especially as his fame increased, he became a extremely intimidating influence. They say that there was one battle where he had 50,000 troops and the opponent had 1,000,000 troops. And he led a phalanx of a couple thousand troops, and they pierced into the enemy lines, and they headed for the command center. And the enemy commander, the one who was leading 1,000,000 troops, freaked out and abandoned and fled in the middle of the battle.
Wow.
And that's how he defeated the 1,000,000 troops. Once they saw their leader fleeing, they just broke ranks.
Wow.
All right. So, but his posterity doesn't get it because after he dies at a very young age. After he dies, they split it up and they fight, and it all falls apart.
Yeah.
So let's see what we have in the commentary here on 4. But after he has arisen, i.e., when he will reach the peak of his strength, Alexander died after a nearly unbroken series of victories that had made him master, first of all, the Greek city-states, and then the whole Near East up to India. He was only 33 years old when he died of a fever in Persia after having been king of Macedonia for 12 years. His kingdom will be broken. His kingdom will break of its own accord without being conquered by another king. It does not say Yishaber, he will break, but Tishaber, it will be broken. Alexander's sudden demise left his huge empire without a proper successor to him, and will be divided into the four directions of heaven. The huge empire was broken up by Alexander's generals into four smaller empires. This is the meaning of the leopard with four wings and four heads that Daniel had been shown earlier. The same meaning is inherent in the vision of the he-goat, whose single horn broke and was replaced by four horns. These four kingdoms were situated along the four directions of the compass, north, south, east, and west. The prophet uses Eretz Yisrael as the focal point, giving the directions of the four empires. Persia to the east, Syria, Babylonia are northern by comparison with Persia. Babylonia, Iraq, stretches to the east to the northeast. Elsewhere in Scripture, Babylonia is indeed referred to as north. Mitzafon, Tipasach, Hara'ah. From the north, Babylonia will be evil begin. Macedonia, although it is to the northwest, is called the Western Kingdom because it is much farther west than north. But not to his posterity. His children will not inherit his kingdom. Achariso, literally his posterity after him, is used as a synonym for children because that is what a father leaves in this world after he dies. Alexander left two sons, Heracles, an illegitimate son, and Alexander the Fourth, Agus, born posthumously. Both were killed in their childhood during the tumultuous years following Alexander's death.
Wow.
So they were probably killed because they didn't want them to be able to inherit.
Right.
Probably the generals that divided up the kingdom killed the children. Nor will it be like his dominion with which he ruled. None of these kingdoms will have the power of Alexander's original empire.
Morning, Mayor.
Good morning. Good
Morning, Mayor.
Yes, good morning, Lou.
Able to make it.
We're on page 122, Mayor.
Oh, you went ahead already. Okay.
I'm reading the commentaries on Pasuk Daled.
Oh, okay. Excellent. Thank you.
So his kingdom will be uprooted to be divided into these four principal kingdoms. And for others besides these, there will be other minor kingdoms besides these four major ones. This is such a strong example of the futility of Gashmias. He was the master of Gashmias. He conquered the whole world by the age of 33. and he was a fantastic general, and he was extremely brave and bold. And what came of it? Nothing.
Yeah, well, looks like from this pasuk that you just read that it was all predicted exactly what would happen.
Right. Yeah, it was part of the plan.
This was revealed to Daniel before the before this is the interim of between the destruction of the first Beis Hamikdash and the rebuilding of the second.
Right. And I think Alexander was after the second was rebuilt, right?
Well, that's a good question. Alexander, he was really, I think, the forerunner of the Greek king Antiochus.
Uh-huh.
The whole episode of Hanukkah.
Right.
So
Which was
that's about 200 years into the 420 years of the second Beis Hamikdash.
right. Right. And there was that incident where I think Shimon HaTzadik met with Alexander.
Right. Yeah, I think they our notes over here referred to that Gemara. Um, yeah, this is a Gemara in Yuma, 69a. They quoted it on page 121 and the first note to verse 3.
69a.
Yuma, yeah. You want to see it?
Yeah, I wouldn't mind. Let me see if I have it.
Yeah, I'm going to check if I have it. I'll be right back.
No, it's on. I'm in the class now.
See, 69A said.
Okay.
Yeah, it's at the bottom of the page.
69A. Huh?
It's 69A4 if you have the art scroll.
Oh, okay. Thank you.
I think it actually starts on 69A3, Mayor.
Okay.
Let's see here.
Yeah, so definitely the temple is in existence because it says the Kuthians requested of Alexander the Macedonian permission regarding the house of our God to destroy it, and he granted it to them. Uh, and they came and informed Shimon HaTzadik.
Oh, Behudiu, Shimon Tzadik. Right.
And what did he do? He donned priestly vestments and wrapped his head in priestly vestments and set out to meet Alexander, accompanied by some of the most prominent people in Israel. And there were lit torches in their hands all night long. These were approaching from the side, and those were approaching from that side until the light of dawn rose. Once the light of dawn rose, Alexander saw the Jewish delegation in the distance. He said to them, "Who are these people?" They answered, "It is the Jews who have rebelled against you." As he reached Antipatris, the sun shone forth, and the two groups, met with each other. As soon as Alexander saw Shimon HaTzadik, he alighted from his chariot and bowed down before him. Those who were with Alexander, said to him, "Shall a great king like yourself bow down before this Jew?" He replied to them, "An image in the likeness of this man gains victory before me on all my battlefields." He then turned to the Jews and said to them, "Why have you come?" They replied, "It is possible that with regard to the very house in which we pray for you and for your empire, that it should not be destroyed. Idolaters shall mislead you to destroy it." He said to them, "Who are these schemers who so mislead me?" They said to him, "It is these very Kuthians who stand before you." So he said to the Jews, "Behold, they are given into your hands to punish them as you see fit." Immediately they pierced the Kuthians in their heels and suspended them from the tails of their horses. And they dragged them over thorns and thistles till they reached Mount Gerizim, the site of the Kuthian temple. Once they arrived at Mount Gerizim, they plowed it and planted it with vetch, just as the Kuthians had sought to do to the house of our God. And they made that day into a festive day on which it is forbidden to eulogize. Thus we see from this brisa that Shimon HaTzadik wore the priestly vestments outside of the temple. If you prefer, say that when the brisa states that Shimon HaTzadik put on the priestly vestments, it means only that they were garments fit to be used as priestly vestments. And if you prefer, say that they were indeed actual priestly vestments, and he was permitted to wear them outside the temple only as an emergency measure, in keeping with the verse, "It is a time to act for Hashem. They have nullified your Torah." I think that's it.
Because that was the issue that the Gemara had before it brought this story. The Gemara was discussing the issue of our big day kahuna what's the parameters of the usage of Bigdei Kahuna? Could you have are they only to be used in the Beis Hamikdash during the avoda? So the Gemara brought this. The Gemara said before. What did the Gemara say? Toshma Bigdei Kahuna Hayotze Behen LeMedina Asur. Somebody that wears them, a Kohen, even a Kohen who's allowed to wear Bigdei Kahuna. Somebody else is not even allowed to wear Bigdei Kahuna anywhere. But a Kohen who wears the Bigdei Kahuna in outside the Harabayas, it's asur. It's not you're not supposed to conduct yourself they're not street clothes. They're articles of that one needs to do avoda. So it's asur to wear them outside the confines of Beis Hamikdash. But if you're in the Mikdash, bein b'shas avoda, bein shelo b'shas avoda, mutter mipnei shebigdei kahuna nitnu lahanos behen. Okay. Shema mina. The Gemara brought a proof that you can't even wear them. You can't wear them for any reason outside Beis Hamikdash, outside the Har Bayis. And on that, the Gemara brought this whole story. The Gemara said, "Uba Medina lo." Medina means outside the Har Bayis, in the land. And they brought this story. So that's why the Gemara. That's why the Gemara made this comment after having brought the story.
Right.
That's how stories get into the Gemara, not because they're pertinent to the halacha. The Gemara doesn't just tell stories.
Right. Right. Yeah, it's interesting because the halachic issue it was not foremost in my mind.
Yeah. So that is the story with Alexandros Mokdan. So he lived in the time of Shimon HaTzadik.
Right. And obviously the temple stood because that's the whole discussion about destroying the temple.
Yeah. So this was, in other words, this was a certain time before, after Alexandros, after his kingdom fell. So then, I guess then his four generals they vied for power and from there was the story of Antiochus,
Right.
and Malchus Yavam.
He must have been the one that took over the area that we know of as Greece.
Yeah. Okay. Very good. Okay. Yeah, so just a very quick demise. At the height of his power and his control over the entire world. He suddenly passed away, and So that's the pasuk. That's pasuk dalid. That's pasuk dalid. And so, so now we have pasuk hey. They have a little preface over here. Maybe in the time that we have left, we'll just take a look at this preface that they have here in the notes. A little bit of the history of this time. I think they're going to say. Maybe you want to read this preface to verses 5 to 39.
Okay, I will do that. It says, since Rashi does not identify the king of the north, nor does he discuss the historical particulars of the kingdoms mentioned here, we will here primarily follow the interpretation of Abarbanel, which is also adopted by Malbim. Although Rashi comments on verses 16 to 19 that the king of the north is Antiochus IV, he refers only to the king mentioned in those verses. Rashi does not identify the king elsewhere in the chapter. Malbim's interpretation deals much more with the wording of the text and updates much of Barbanel's historical data. We refer to Malbim as the primary interpretation. Therefore, the source need not be mentioned each time. Wherever necessary, more historical data and additional interpretation have been added in brackets. Following each complete verse, the essence of Rashi's interpretation is given. At verse 40, where the angel switches to the prophecy of the time of the end, some of the other interpretations will be summarized. The complexity of the material precludes elaboration on all these interpretations. Wherever dates have been converted from the Seleucid calendar, Minyan Shtarot, the year 3448 has been assumed as the starting point of this calendar. And there's all these references.
What is the, I don't even know what this is. Seleucid calendar, and then they say Minyan Shtaros. Totally unclear. Then they say 3448. That sounds like according to our calendar.
Yeah, the Jewish calendar. Yeah.
The year 3448 has been assumed as the starting point for this calendar, meaning this Seleucid calendar, whatever it is, and whatever. Okay.
I think it's the Greek calendar. The Seleucids were the Greek Empire in the Hellenistic period. 312 years before the Common Era.
Yeah, so it's similar to the Jewish one because it says 12 lunar months, 354 days per year.
Right.
Oh, where does it say that?
And I just looked up Seleucid calendar on Google.
Okay.
It's not in our book. That's interesting, though. Final.
Okay, so hopefully they'll fill in the historical data.
Right.
We can get some clarity. Okay. Very good. That'll do it for today.
Thank you, Rabbi. Have a good Shabbos.
Okay. Have a good Shabbos.
A good Shabbos.
Yes.
Enjoy.
Okay. Mitsuyan. So we got.
Hey, have a good Shabbos.
You too, Lou. Be well. Judy too.
Bye, Mayor. Bye, Lou.
Okay. Take